Security in Bloglio is the main concern of everybody in Nigeria. Alert on security is sacrosanct. Osbc Television Channel 32 UHF Ileawiye Okibale Oshogbo sensitizes you through a program, Security and You, on Mondays between 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the evening. Members of the public are allowed to contribute meaningfully to save you and me from the headache. Make a date with the anchor Abdul Jalil at DBC on this channel with security experts. Security and You. Hey, you must watch. Join us. Welcome back onto another edition of your security. That is the conscious, most conscious program on the television of Osbc Ileawiye Okibale here in Osun State. And I must tell you that today we are continuing with it. Then we want to look at it from a pragmatic angle when it comes to security. And today we have a very an august visitor, an august guest who is purely in the realm of security. That is when it comes to international and interborder security. That is why we want to delve into what is happening in Sudan. And somebody will say that what concerns security are you with it? It is what is sacrosanct. That is what is the lives of our people. We have more than 7,000 Nigerians in that place. Thank God that they have been taken away from Sudan to the Egypt, and yet they are yet to come back to town. Then we have a major who is going to take a look at all these things. Then what are the things to be done before war breaks? Then what are the things to be done when the war is on? Then what are the things to be done to save one's head? But before I introduce you to the major in the studio, I want to give you few tips about the security for this week. Police officer chasing suspected criminals shot dead. That is very funny. Ahead of May 29 inauguration, Buhari to unveil Nigeria Army's new regimental colors. Likewise, CP orders removal of DPU from office, announces sanctions for other officers. These are few because we have these very burning issues. That's what we need to address. Please, if you are watching this program today, I say congratulations to you. Then you make sure that you keep closer and glued to your TV set as you are going to be getting ideas. God forbid by saying something like that will not happen, but you need to know what is happening over there so that you can be able to know and appreciate the life you are living here. I want to appreciate the retired Major Samson Olaita Olawe. You are welcome, sir.
You are welcome.
We have had you many months ago. Even you have not come to this studio this year on security. You are welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Since 3 weeks ago, the war that broke in Sudan has affected many nationalities. Nigeria is not excluded, and we have seen that there may be, I'm not into force, you are into force, there must be some pre-plan before the war, but that is when we have crisis always leads to war. Then before a war breaks, as a soldier, what do you think that apart from the soldier, the civilian should do?
Well, I think it depends on the nature of the conflict. When a war breaks out, there's a tendency for many civilians to feel that it might be a temporary thing. So they will still continue to hold on. But if a civilian knows that the war is going to be, it's escalating and it's going to be a serious thing, the best thing that a civilian can do, he cannot get out of the country because he may not have visa in the country surrounding the place. So there's no way of any civilian getting out of a crisis situation like that. But what the civilian can do, or even a military man who is not engaged in the war can do, is to hide himself in his room or wherever he stays and communicate with his embassy, if there's any embassy in that place. Communicate with the embassy or communicate with the people with whom he had been talking before.
We have two.
That's the safest thing to do, because if a man attempts to go out of the country, anything can happen.
But sometimes spray bullet, you call something spray bullet, can hit somebody hiding in their rooms.
No, if you are in your room, stray bullet cannot come and hit you in the room. It's only when you go in the street that stray bullet can hit you.
Okay, supposing as it breaks now in that very particular subject matter we are discussing today in Sudan, then what might have happened? Because some people say that it is power touch between two warriors, that is two soldiers. Then what do you think that should create that crisis or that misunderstanding between the two of them?
What created the conflict?
The conflict.
Well, Omar al-Bashir seized power in 1989 from the constitutionally elected prime minister, and he started ruling. He ruled for 30 years in Sudan, and he did something which backfired later. There was a kind of militia, militia group in that place, which he tried to transform into a paramilitary force. And he did not stop there. He even promoted some of the leaders of the paramilitary group, and he promoted them he promoted them as military officers. He gave them military ranks. And that means he had created a tension between the conventional army that was there and the paramilitary group that he created. And it is unfortunate that it is both the leader of the paramilitary group and the leader of the conventional army that overthrew him. And after his overthrow, there is a power tussle between those two generals, the one leading the Sudanese armed forces and the one leading the other paramilitary group.
Okay, but when we look at it, because somebody, al-Bashir is the leader of the country, then the subordinates now fighting each other. Do you think that, how do you think that the military in the town, in the country, can resolve this? Can't it be resolved within the military?
You're supposed to, but power is something that makes people react the way they should not react. Power is a very dangerous thing. When people are in power, they don't want to leave power. They are supposed to be able to resolve their differences, but because of the background that I'm just giving you, it will be difficult for them to resolve, particularly in Sudan.
But when you look at the international organization like UN, like AU, what do you think that they are doing on this particular crisis?
The role they can play.
Yes, the role they are playing.
Well, actually, the United Nations is supposed to intervene very quickly, and I think they are doing so now.
They are just pleading.
They are pleading. They are pleading.
Don't they have any force to command them?
That's the first way. That's the preliminary way to start. Okay. They will plead with them. Then, if they discover that they are not heeding the plea and that the situation is getting out of control, then they will send the armed forces of the other countries to go and quell the crisis.
What about the African Union?
The African Union should do the same thing. In fact, even Nigeria should do the same thing, because it is our own interest to play the big brother role in this crisis now.
As the giants of Africa.
Yes, because as the giants of Africa. Because if we don't do so, it will portend a lot of danger for this country. Now, what do I mean? Some of the Sudanese people are fleeing Sudan right now. And some of them, when they flee Sudan, they go with their arms. They go with arms from Sudan. And if they go with arms and they cross over to Chad Republic, and from Chad they can easily get access to the Lake Chad area in Nigeria. And once they get to the Lake Chad area, they link up the Boko Haram. So the Boko Haram insurgency that we are talking about may be a child's play if we allow them to come. So what I'm saying now is that Nigeria should go and mediate immediately now, as we play a big brother role, mediating the crisis so that the crisis does not escalate to such an extent that insurgents will be coming from there to come and infiltrate into our own country here.
Major, when you were in the force, I hope you might have went for one arbitration cost like that to go to another country to go and mediate or to go and reinstall peace. Then, if when you were sent on such a occasion, how do you think that a military man sent into the warring place should feel?
How do I think that?
How do you think that military people, that is the soldiers, sent from Nigeria to go and restore peace? Okay. How do you think that they will feel when they get to the place?
That they feel?
How they will feel? How would they feel?
Well, when you are commissioned into the Nigerian army, you are laying down your life for that is part of your profession. So a military man who is sent to another country to go and fight for the liberation of another country must go there. It is part of our duty to be there. As
a product of Nigerian army, what do you think that Nigeria should do now? Can we just send, or we should be evacuating just like that?
No, the evacuation is the first thing to do, and I think they are doing so now. Even though most of our Nigerian people over there are complaining that the rate at which the Nigerian government is moving is so slow that they are finding it difficult to, that the situation is endangering their lives. You know, that's the first stage. The first stage is to evacuate your citizens, like other countries are doing. UK, US, and so on have evacuated their own citizens. And I think Nigeria is becoming too lethargic. They are becoming too lackadaisical in the evacuation story. We were told that they rented 40 vehicles to evacuate them because going through the airport is very dangerous. They have to go by road. But some of the Nigerians are complaining that there were only between 11 and 13, 17 vehicles available. Where are the others? I'm sure by now all the 5,000 Nigerians there must have been evacuated.
Even what we
but a lot of them are still there now, stranded.
Okay, those who have left the place for
people have left the place, but they are still at the border of Egypt.
Egypt.
I said something earlier. I said if you want to cross a country, you are going to a country and you want to cross another country, you have to have the visa of that country. So a country may refuse to allow our Nigerians to pass through it if they don't go through all the
Egypt charge each of them $9. Egypt charge each of them $9, and Nigerian government has agreed that Nigeria is going to pay. But the evacuation mechanism, can we say that it is commendable or it is too slow?
It is too slow. That's what I'm just saying. It is too slow. It is too slow. Immediately the war broke out, and other nationalities were evacuating other nations were evacuating their nationalities. Nigeria should have started also.
Okay, in this exercise, what do you think that, as a soldier, what is the responsibility of Nigerian soldiers overseeing what is happening there?
Nigerian soldiers have no responsibility. If it comes to a situation
where... They should be expecting order. Can they be expecting order from the president?
Yes, they have to expect orders from the commander.
They should be ready to go to Sudan.
I'm sure they will be battle ready now, because anything can happen. The commander-in-chief of the armed forces can ask them to move to Sudan, and they have to move. Every soldier is always battle ready.
Okay, as a soldier, when it happens like that, those who are on the battlefield, how do you think that they will feel? Those who are on the battlefield, that is between two warriors, how do you think that they should feel?
The foreign soldiers,
yes, the Sudanese
or the
soldiers who are fighting the war?
The soldier, well, it depends. Their loyalty to the cause is important. If they are loyal to the cause for which they are fighting, yes, if they are loyal to the cause for which they are fighting, then they will fight without any problem.
Okay, if you are asked to count losses, or a Sudanese is asked to count losses, what do you think that should be some of the things possibly they might have lost? That they have burned some houses, they have killed more than 50 people. Okay. Then what do you think that people should be looking for? That is, what are the qualities?
The consequences,
yes, consequences of war.
The consequences of the present crisis.
Yes.
Well, a lot of problems have arisen really, and one of them is the fact that because of the war situation, you know, in every war situation, people will find it difficult to live. And one of the problems that is at present confronting them is how to get even food to eat. Before this crisis broke out, there had been a problem of food shortage. They say an average person was not able to even afford to buy a loaf of bread. And so the tension has been there. The socio-economic problems are
before
there.
the war.
Even before the war, the socio-economic problems are there. A lot of diseases have broken out: malaria, diphtheria, dengue fever, and so on and so forth. And unfortunately too, because of this crisis, it has been difficult for the international communities who decided to help them, because the war has prevented many people from accessing the benefits that these international bodies will have brought to them, either in terms of financial aid or in terms of material aid, even in terms of medicine. So those are all the problems. Food shortage, communication had been disrupted, electricity had been down, and so on. War is a terrible thing. It has brought a lot of problems and a lot of weight on the citizens in Sudan.
Okay, Sudan is our brother in Africa.
African brother.
Yes. How do you think that? What do you think that Nigeria stands to benefit, possibly, or to lose from this war?
To benefit from the war, or from the war.
Do we have anything to benefit from the war, or something to lose from the war?
Well, as of now, what we can lose from the war is that Sudan is an African state. It's an African country. And if anything happens to them, we cannot fold our hands and think that we are not concerned. Because when the problem of Boko Haram started in the northeast, in Borno State in particular, the area around the northeast said it was not their business. It said it was only Borno. But when the thing started spreading to other, neighboring states, like Yobe and Adamawa, then the entire northeast now knew that they were in danger. The rest of Nigeria felt that it was not their main business. But when the Boko Haram something also started and developed into banditry and so on, and it was affecting every other part of Nigeria, then all the remaining part of Nigeria now started waking up. So in the same way, we cannot say that what happens in Sudan does not concern us in Nigeria, because it's a broader African country. And all the mysteries that they are going through now, we should feel all the mysteries for them. But materially, there's nothing that we lose, actually, directly or generally. But what I'm saying is that what we lose is that whatever they lose, we lose.
Because about 5,000 Nigerians who are studying.
There are 4,000 Nigerians who are there now.
They have now lost. Lost their opportunity to study again.
Well, if the situation comes back to normal, you can go back.
But when you were talking, we talk about some of the people from Sudan who escaped from the country. Some of them escaped with arms and ammunition.
Yes, sure.
Then they may sneak into Nigeria. Then, as a former military man, what do you think that Nigerians who are managing our borders should do at this very particular point in time?
Well, I think that is a clear call to our border agencies. Because that's part of the preparedness and readiness that I told you that any military man is supposed to be at alert at any given time. I'm sure by now all our armed forces around the Lake Chad area will have been on standby, because they know that infiltration of these people can happen at any given time. So it's a clear call on them to get themselves
Major, from your experience, some people usually say that, even some Nigerians believe that Nigerian borders are porous.
Very, very porous.
What do you think that might happen? Then this thing may, don't you think that they can come inside without any, and come and help the Boko Haram to fight us again?
That's why I'm saying that our armed forces must be battle ready now, and expect that these people from the Sudan, the fallout from Sudan crisis, may affect us in Nigeria if they are not careful. Our borders are porous, and we don't have enough manpower to man all our borders. there are so many routes that are not even being manned as at now. In the entire Nigerian situation, there are less than 380,000 policemen in the whole of this country. In fact, there are 374,000 policemen manning a country with 200 million people. So where do you get people to go and man all the borders when the policemen are not even enough to man the Nigeria itself? You know.
What is your advice to the government about the shortage of
My advice to the government is that they should do mass recruitment of military people, mass recruitment of the police, mass recruitment of the immigration, and all the uniform forces. There must be mass recruitment.
The government usually complain that there's no money.
And they have to have the money. The money is there. You know, many years ago when the Gawan was there, he said the problem of Nigeria is not that there's no money, but how to spend it. The money is there. It's only the money is going into the wrong hands. The money to do so is there.
Sometimes when one of your junior officer, a colonel, come to the studio here, I ask him that can Nigeria, can we quench, can we end Boko Haram? I want to put it to you again. Can we end Boko Haram operation in Nigeria?
Boko Haram will end. That's the prayer of every Nigerian.
Is it prayer, or are we working towards it? That is by having enough soldier, ammunition, and some other materials to fight them?
The federal government says they have given enough money for military to buy their software and hardware, and we believe in that. And some of the very senior officers who are service chiefs are also confirming that the federal government is giving them enough money to buy their military hardware and the military software. And I think that is enough encouragement for them to work harder. So that, but I believe that insurgency will end in Nigeria. Whatever has a beginning must have an end.
But how soon?
How in the sense that
Buhari's administration is going, we are eyeing another administration in the next few days to come. Do you think that it can end before Buhari's administration ends, or during
before the handing over?
Yes.
No.
Or during the Tinubu's first term?
Forget about that. The end to insurgency, it may not be at sight immediately now, but I think the people in charge of our armed forces are making efforts to make sure that insurgency ends as soon as possible. But the soon is the question mark.
But the apparatus are now on ground?
Yes, they say they have enough infrastructure on the ground. They say they have enough military hardware on the ground. So what is the problem?
I want you to address, because we learned that there are some big people behind Boko Haram. Do you believe that?
They say so, and I think I believe it.
How?
I think I believe, but even the federal government said, I think the Attorney General said one day that they were ready to release the names of those people behind the Boko Haram, but they have not released them up to now. But it is certain that there are some people who are aiding and abetting the Boko Haram. At least there are people who supply them arms. There are people who supply them
even food.
Food.
So people
with food, even the food that they eat. There are collaborators. There are people who are collaborating, but the federal government has refused to name them.
Thank you very much. Because we don't have much time. Again, I want to appreciate you on behalf of the Director General of the corporation and the executive producer of the program. That's not about you. We thank you, and that is Major Samson Olawon. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
I'm at DBC Abijele Adero TV. By the grace of God, we are going to meet again next week on this channel with the same title. Bye for now. Security